Yo, what's going on, everybody? We're back. It's the first episode of July, and I'm pretty sure I mentioned the previous episode that I wanted to talk about a movie next, and had a lot of options. July is definitely the month where a lot of things are being released, and we have a lot going on. So, the movie I decided to go with had a few different options. There was a movie, I believe it was called Trust No One. That was released on HBO Max. Had a crazy cast with like Don Cheadle, Del Toro. The list of people go on and on. I was gonna talk about that, but I watched it and it wasn't a bad movie. Um, if you like kind of like crime drama type films like that, it might be for you. But it was kind of just like blah to me. Like it wasn't bad, but it wasn't like amazing. So I really don't have a desire to talk about that. So I scratched that off the list. Netflix just released the first Fear Street movie, with the second one coming out today actually. And I was actually going to talk about that too, but I figured it might make more sense to just wait till all three parts come out, and then we could just talk about it, compare the three, just how everything flows. So I need to come up with a movie to talk about, and social media definitely helped me come up with this one. We're talking about Fast 9. Now, this movie, I really had no desire to go to the theaters to see this. But I said social media convinced me, and it's because the memes for this fucking shit have been so funny, especially with the emphasis on like family and stuff like that. All the memes flooding social media right now, which I'm sure everybody has seen, is just a complete sum of just this franchise continuing and just becoming such a joke. So social media definitely just convinced me like, hey, I had no desire to see this movie. I knew it wasn't going to be good. But I was like, it's relevant right now. The memes are excellent. So just suck it up. Go watch the film and let's talk about it. So it was directed by Justin Lin, who's actually making his return to the franchise. He first joined in the third film, Tokyo Drift. And then after Tokyo Drift, he continued to do the fourth film. Then he did Fast 5. Then he did Fast and Furious 6. Didn't do 7 or 8, but he did return for this one. And I could give him some credit. Like, there's little things I liked about the movie. There's, a couple racing scenes for once. Like, actual, like, drag racing in a flashback, which was kind of like a nice touch. And you definitely feel like the element from some of the past films, and I'm not talking 7 or 8, talking like the past ones that he actually did. So it definitely had his signature kind of returning to the franchise. I'll give him credit there. But oh man, this movie is it was bad. It was really bad. Can we even call it Fast 9? Like, we might as well call it like the Hood James Bond, or we call it like This Generation's Family Matters. Shit, we could even call it the Ghetto Avengers. Or you know what? Even just go with like the Corona Beer's number one marketing partner, because there's a Corona beer in like almost every scene in this movie. But yeah, this looking back, this franchise just should not be continuing. And I guess I'm gonna have a little bit of fun just talking about everything. First, let's start off with the verdict, I guess. I probably have to give it like a 3 out of 10, to be honest with you. I'm gonna give it a pure 3 out of 10. And that might be alarming to some because it's such a low grade. But this, I'm just gonna use this as a way to like refresh your memory on just how my scale works. I'm tired of like scales 1 through 10, and the grades to movies are always like 7 through 10. So I use my whole scale, and this is definitely falling in the 3 category for me. 5 is like kind of like average, on the bad side, but not terrible either. So 5 is considered average. This movie's getting a 3. It's definitely below average. And although it has some fun stuff, this franchise is just a mess. So let's do an overview for everything. Fast and the Furious, the first film, was just iconic to me. Street racing, it has a culture, and some might not even think that some of that even exists, but street racing is a thing. There is a freaking crowd for it. I have cousins who freaking race. Definitely New Jersey, there's a lot of popular, meetups and stuff like that, and the world exists. It's not to that extent that the movies make it, but race culture is a real thing. People love cars, people love imports. I have friends that they hook up their cars. Like, it's a good idea if you're gonna make a movie based off the culture, because you're gonna get support. So the first movie was iconic. Paul Walker, legendary actor, rest in peace. Vin Diesel, Vin Diesel, like, now Vin Diesel now is kind of cringe, but Vin Diesel was that dude, like, especially like when I was younger. He, like, not only with the Fast and the Furious movies, but you had like the first Triple X. I thought that movie was a lot of fun. And Vin just is like, he's an actor that, like, he's just like himself, like, you know what I mean, like, he's not just like your cut and dry actor. He's literally just like, I don't know, he has his own vibe to it. So you got to give credit to Vin Diesel, especially old Vin Diesel. So the first Fast and the Furious movie was great. A lot of racing in it. Of course, it had the side story with all the heists, but they're like small heists. They're stealing from like trucks and shit like that. And just it following like this young race crew, it worked. Part 2 came along. Vin wasn't in that one because he was filming Chronicles of Riddick, but you still had Paul Walker returning. Tyrese joined the franchise. They needed another like buddy for Paul Walker, and just so happened Tyrese is also bald like Vin Diesel, so it worked. Tyrese was a good compliment to Vin. You also get introduced to Ludacris's character, who's a completely different character in the later movies, but I'll get into that later. Too Fast, Too Furious. That was fun. I thought the first one was better, obviously, but Too Fast, Too Furious was good because it was a change of scenery. So it wasn't in LA, it took place in Miami, so that had its own little vibe to it. And it was definitely just like more cars. I feel like it definitely had, like, they did a better job on like the customizations and just kind of like enhancing what the first film did. Tokyo Drift, the third film, comes along. Complete new characters. I wasn't crazy about it, to be honest with you. But it had its good things, but like it really was kind of weak, to be honest with you. And that's why for a few years the franchise was done. Part 4 comes along years later to bring back the original cast. And it worked, although there were some like little extreme moments in it. I felt like that was when the franchise was reaching a new level. So Fast 5 comes out after. It follows the fourth one. And Fast 5, man, like, I really enjoyed it, even though it had like its super cringe like getaway scene with like the vault from the bank, like like the cars are just driving full speed with fucking volts on the back of it. It didn't make any sense, but Fast 5 was fun. We get introduced to The Rock, and Fast 5 was I feel like the peak of the franchise. Fast 6 came along, and oh man, Fast 6 had some really cringe moments in it, but I think Fast 6, like, the action was good. They were like starting to up the ante for the franchise for sure. So I think despite the problems with 6, I still thought 6 was enjoyable. But then when Fast 7 came out, that was a bit of a mess. But you could at least like cut them some slack because that was after Paul Walker's death. So they kind of just made it work. They did what they had to do. Now you would think after Paul Walker's death, it's probably a good time to like peace out, like wave the white flag, like kind of put the franchise to an end. But nope, they continued coming out with movies. Furious 8 followed, and it was just garbage. I'll get into more details, but it was just garbage. Hobbs and Shaw, which was The Rock's character and Jason Statham's character, that was a little side movie after that. Well, I don't even know where to go. I guess they're the villain in that movie is like a superhero. Like that's like, I don't know. Things really just continue to get to extreme levels with that. And then we got Fast 9. And Fast 9, to sum it up, I gave the verdict already, but to sum it up, it's Vin, and he's going on another secret mission with the crew, saving the world. But this time, his brother, John Cena, who's a character that was never referenced once in the franchise, just happens to join. And I'll give John Cena one thing. His acting wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I guess from all his experience with WWE, his acting was decent. But I just think John Cena in general is just cringe. One, if you're like a wrestling fan, you know he's a freaking Hall of Fame wrestler, but he's just like, I don't know, he's like the kid's favorite. He's like the Clark Kent of freaking WWE, and I think most people are just get tired of him. I don't know. Why did I even pick this movie? Why did I even pick this movie? But it's cool. I gave you guys the overview. Talk John Cena. His character was just super random, and I thought he walked really funny. Way too much steroids on that dude. And then it was also kind of a reunion, this movie, for like a lot of the past characters too. Full spoilers, like from here on out. I'm just letting you guys know, full spoilers. I'm just gonna talk about the movie. Like it's really nothing special. And if you didn't see the movie, you might as well just keep watching anyway, because I'm gonna save it for you. Like it's a waste of time. But it's a reunion of characters. They bring back Han, who was obviously from Tokyo Drift and in some of the other Fast movies. He dies, and they like put such an emphasis on this in all the other movies. But just like that, thanks to Kurt Russell, he's just back. And the explanation pretty much is Kurt Russell, who plays the character Mr. Nobody, super secret, like government like type dude or whatever. Han survived because of him. He just disappeared from the car crash, and it was because of Kurt Russell. So thank you, Kurt Russell. You brought back Han. After that, we also got Sean from Tokyo Drift. He came back again, along with Bow Wow, who was dressed like a NBA 2K My player, like just Jordan, like everything. Like it was actually cringe. He looked like he was dressed like a fifth grader with money, just Jordan everything. It was pretty funny. He comes back as well, and I guess my biggest issue with the Fast and the Furious franchise, like, look, everybody gets a laugh of like the crazy stunts and the super unrealistic things that happen. But I think my biggest issue with the Fast and the Furious movies is just like the franchise as a whole, it just doesn't make sense. Like the character development, the writing, they just circle back on so many things, and it just like it's just cringe. It's super cringe. Like it just makes I put my palm to my head. And I will say with Fast 9, there were plenty of moments where like I was like just chuckling. Like I went in the early afternoon during the weekday, so I was like the only one in the theater, and I was just bawling, like laughing hysterical at what I was watching. So I mentioned stunts and stuff like that. Some of the stunts in this movie were pretty comical. They had like this super magnetic technology. That was like the big theme for this movie. That was cringe. And then I think the funniest thing for me too is just like how they use cars like baseball gloves or something. You know, you have a baseball glove, you know, you catch the ball. Picture the ball being humans, and then the cars that they're driving being the glove, because they were just catching people left and right with freaking cars. No damage to the car in terms of windshield, anything, like just a perfect catch. And you know, it's once or twice is one thing, but I felt like it was from beginning to end, like it was happening over and over again. So I thought that was really funny. And I mean, maybe I'm looking too much into it, because look, at the end of the day, these are just action movies. A lot of action movies are, they're not supposed to be like Oscar worthy. We know that. They're to just escape from reality, have fun, look at the crazy set pieces and sequences. I'm all for that. But like I said, my biggest problem with Fast and Furious is just the writing. I'm gonna give you guys a few examples. So, where do I even start? One, character development. I'm gonna use a couple characters as examples. Okay, so Tyrese's character Roman, we're introduced to him in the second movie, and yeah, have like a laugh. He'll give us a laugh or two throughout that movie. But Roman was a pretty serious character for the most part. He was like, at the time, he was like the Vin Diesel replacement. And over the years, he has just become full comic relief, and to the point where they pretty much almost clown his character at times just to give the audience a laugh. That's not really the end of the world. I mean, comedic relief is just, that's just the thing nowadays. Like, I feel like all movies have to have comedic relief, and that's not saying that's how I feel, but I just what I'm saying is I feel like movies that are made nowadays just always have that element in it, no matter what the genre is. So he's your comedic relief character. Then you got Ludacris's character, and this is one that I have like a huge problem with. In the second movie, we're introduced to his character. He has the big afro. He's pretty much like, he's pretty ghetto. Well, he's not really ghetto, but like he's just like your typical Miami hood dude. Like, he's just chill. Like, you know what I mean? He's run shits. He operates the races and stuff. He goes from that to being a pretty realistic character to being like this quantum physics mathematical scientist, where he needs to analyze everything and the physics of this and that, and just like, I think they really started to emphasize on that. I think maybe around the sixth or seventh film, I guess he makes his return and stuff like that. He's just like this tech whiz, like IT dude out of nowhere. And I mean, maybe he went back to school during some of the other movies that he wasn't in and just became this super like genius. But like, for me, it was just a huge character development jump that we get, like this dude who's just well respected in the streets, in the culture, to just being this freaking, I don't know, freaking Yale professor. I don't know. It was just Ludacris's character. I just find him super annoying in this franchise now. So those are just examples of like just characters and just how the behavior of the characters don't really make too much sense. And I guess another one version I could do is like, I think it was the seventh or eighth movie, like The Rock and Jason Statham's character. They have a couple moments where they got to work together. They don't really like each other. But then towards the end of whatever movie it is, they kind of have that respect. When they get that side movie with them, they're back to the bickering. For me, that doesn't make sense, because the character's already developed in one film to where they have that mutual respect. But then the next movie comes out and it's back to square one and they're bickering like children. Enough with characters. Let's get to just the overall story as a whole. This franchise, they go back on so much shit. One example I'll use is like Tokyo Drift. That came out in 2006. And that movie, there's a real emphasis on like flip phones and just the times. Like, it really took place in the times we were living in. They kind of with some of the Fast movies, they try to make it seem like it took place before Tokyo Drift, but then when you look at the technology of things and just how things play out, it just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. And I'm not even just talking about like the year and just technology, but just the way they circle back to Tokyo and then how things take place after. It's just a mess. And I think with this franchise, especially with the writers, I think they're lazy. Lazy as fuck. And at this point, you kind of just gotta laugh at it, because they just do whatever they want. And they're just gonna like yeah, let's bring back this character from the dead. We don't really need to explain it. They're just back. And I know they're gonna. There's rumors that they might do the same for Glad Gadet's character. If you don't know who Glad Gadet is, you're probably living under a fucking rock. But if you don't recognize the name, Wonder Woman. There you go. So they're thinking about bringing her character back. We got Jason Statham returning too. He was in the post-credit scenes for this movie. And the funny thing is, when the credits like popped up, I knew there was gonna probably be a post-credit scene. So I go, does Fast have a post-credit scene? And I've done that for other movies before, and it's pretty cut and dry. They'll be like, yeah. They just say, yeah, there is. So you know to just wait. I did that for this one, and literally it says, yeah, this person and this person come face to face. And I'm just like, well, way to spoil it for me before I even seen it. But I guess I did that to myself. But yeah, back to just the poor writing. I don't know. What do we talk about? Like, Letty's death and how she came back, that made a little bit of sense, but how she just didn't have any memory and stuff, that was its own thing. With, I guess, going back to writing, is just like the John Cena thing, like him being Dom's brother. Like, this movie put so much emphasis on that, and they had flashback after flashback with John Cena's character. They had another actor playing him and Dom when they were younger and stuff like that. And I didn't mind those scenes. It gave us some context, and it gave us some like roots to, I guess, the franchise. But I don't know. It just, for him to just be such a significant character, to just not be introduced to the 9th movie, it really shows you that the writers are just doing whatever the fuck they want. Like, you just plopping this there, plopping that there, plopping that here. And I don't know. But you know what? These movies aren't supposed to be taken that serious. They're supposed to be for like the extreme, like, stunts and just bullshit. Like, the whole movie just doesn't make sense. We used to joke around on Twitter and stuff like that, like, oh, they gotta, what's the next thing they're gonna do, go to space? Well, they did that in this movie. It was Ludacris's character and Tyrese, and what do you know, they actually go, it's not like they went into a spaceship or anything, they actually went in a car that had like a rocket blaster attached to it. That's how they got to space. I thought that was really funny. Like, I know this is a car movie, but I wouldn't have been mad at them if they were like in a legit rocket or legit spaceship to do that mission of taking out the satellite. That would have been okay. No, they actually built a car with a rocket blaster on it. Like, that, it doesn't get any funnier than that. It really doesn't. Let me see what else. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm gonna just end this like on a just funny note. Shout out to all the memes, because I've seen some really, really funny ones. I think probably my favorite would be the one with the Lion King, where Mustafa is like getting knocked off the cliff when he dies, but then it's Vin Diesel catching him in a car, and then freaking you see Vin and he's in the car, and then you see the fucking lion and he's looking at him smiling. Oh man, stuff like that. Like, people on the internet are so creative. And yeah, I think there's 2 more movies coming out. I think Fast 10 and 11. I'm from what I've read, I think the 11th film is gonna finally be the last one, which thank God. But I'm just trying to like think, like, what the hell is gonna happen in these next 2 movies? Like, what else could they do? But at this point, the writers are trolling. They're gonna figure something out. I don't know. 3 out of 10. Movie was shit. The other movies are gonna be shit, and it really seems like they're bringing all the characters from the past back. So it's gonna be a fully loaded next 2 movies. We'll see how they play out, but yeah, I don't know. Fast and the Furious, don't even waste your time. All right, what's to come? Got 3 minutes left. What's to come? I mentioned the Fear Street movies on Netflix. I definitely want to give some thoughts on that. I'm not super crazy about them, but there are some likable things about it. And I've only seen the first one. We got the two more parts coming out. Definitely plan on talking about that. Next episode is gonna. I'm gonna firmly say next episode is gonna be about Handmaid's Tale, because the last season finished last month, and pretty much my little break that I took, that's more than enough time for like people who are fans of the show to probably caught up on the season and watch. So I'm definitely next episode probably dropping in a couple days will be on the Handmaid's Tale. And after that, yeah, I might do another movie. Cause July we have a lot of movies coming out. We have Black Widow coming out today too, and I'm actually gonna go see that. I'm actually gonna go pick up my girl and see that. So that could be what's up in the next episode as well. So after Handmaid's Tale, I'll do Black Widow. And I know there's another movie. There, part two to the Escape Room. I'm not sure if any of you guys saw Escape Room. Part two to that's coming out. I know there's another movie coming out as well that I just not ringing. Oh, you know what's coming out? It's not even a movie. It's a show. Um, the American Horror Story franchise is back. They're switching it up. They're doing American Horror Stories. So that looks interesting. I think it's actually a really good change in the format. So I'll talk about that at some point too. But I'll probably wait for that season to wrap up to like give my verdict and my thoughts on everything. So yeah, I'm excited. This summer we have a lot of stuff coming out, movies, shows. Restrictions continue to be lifted. Everything is slowly coming back to normal, which is why things are getting released rapidly. So yeah, I'm excited. Stay tuned. It's gonna be a busy month for the podcast, especially because we're gonna be entering Leo season soon, and I definitely want to make it an emphasis that Leo season, I'm definitely gonna try to like really grind and get episodes out because this is the Chill Lion podcast. So, what better way to do it? But anyway, if you're still tuning into this boring shit, I appreciate it. I know Fast and the Furious wasn't anything amazing, but I can't just talk about good movies. I gotta talk about bad ones too. So yeah, peace. Y'all have a good day. Enjoy the weekend.